So let me go through the list of things that I read regarding the WBC mandatory discussion as a result of the WBC International Convention in Kiev. So number 1, Jorge Linares versus Adrien Broner in a title eliminator for Jose Ramirez title. So meaning the winner would get to face Jose Ramirez for the title.
That sounds like a good fight. I don't know why Broner's in that mix. I don't think he deserves a title shot if he wins that fight against Linares.
I got you.
You know, I don't know why he's just. I think lack of a better term, he's kind of a useful idiot, right? Because he's entertaining, he's a name, and he's semi-competitive, but I don't think he can beat Linares, and it's a little bit of a go-between instead of putting those guys directly with each other, Ramirez and Linares. And we said in the last podcast that
they were on a collision course, basically.
Exactly.
Him and Ramirez were on a collision course.
But yeah, I think Broner is, like I said, like useful, and he's kind of a measuring stick for everybody now. If you can fight him and beat him, he's a good test on the way to title fight.
He's also, despite the fact that he seems to be not liked, he is an attraction.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He gets money. And one thing that he will do that hasn't really been the case outside of like true sort of boxing purists is bring exposure to Jorge Linares that he otherwise hasn't really had yet. And I think that it could benefit Jorge Linares in that it'll make the title fight bigger, and getting the title will give him opportunities in the future against the likes of Mikey Garcia or Lomachenko again at 140. So I think
very good point.
A lot of it is it's not just about building up to the Jose Ramirez fight. I think it's actually the fact that he gets the attention. He'll get the viewers. It gives Linares more viewers, right? And I actually think Linares has a really good chance in that fight at 140 with Adrien Broner. But there are also some potential obstacles because there's been a lot of rumors of Adrien Broner being floated as opponents for other people that would be bigger money fights for Adrien Broner. So Manny Pacquiao in the December-January timeframe, Adrien Broner has been floated as an opponent for Manny Pacquiao. He was even floated on the rumor mill as an opponent for Floyd Mayweather in that time frame. The idea being that Floyd Mayweather wanted to fight in Tokyo, a tune-up fight, or an opponent before getting in with Manny Pacquiao in a rematch for two reasons. One, because he doesn't want to jump straight into a rematch. He wants to be sharp. And two, because he wants to extend the time period so that they can build up a Manny Pacquiao rematch. If they were just to fight in December, it's a short period of time to build up a big money fight, right? So Broner sort of has the options of Pacquiao, of Mayweather. WBC has commanded Linares. Broner, I believe, even put out on Twitter a tweet where he had said something to the effect of he's heard the rumors about Pacquiao and Mayweather, and his price is $100 million for either fight. That was his price, $100 million for either fight.
Wow.
What do you think? Is Broner worth $100 million?
Well, you know what? It's not that he's worth $100 million, but Pacquiao or Mayweather.
But somebody fighting him
is worth $400 million, or $300 million, and I guess if they want to make $200 million and give $100 to Broner,
yeah,
we'll see.
The funny
he's
thing
not
is,
worth it though.
Out of all those fights, I'd rather see him fight Linares.
Yeah, boxing wise, for for competition, more relevance. I think Linares is more relevant. He's winning belts right now, and then he's in the mix with the younger fighters, right? The younger fighters that are at the top of their weight division, that are at the top of boxing. Let's be honest, Mayweather and Pacquiao are at the twilight of their career. They're ready to get out of here. They're just trying to collect as much money as they can before they're done. Like we said, they've probably got 2 to 3 fights left in them. Mayweather does this stuff where he retires and comes back, and what he said he wants to fight for 9 figures, right? Which is, north of $100 million. So, I mean, I don't really want to see Mayweather and Pacquiao fight. fight each other
Or Broner.
or Broner.
Like, I don't want to see them fight each other or Broner.
I'd like to see these. Hey, why don't they pass the torch and let these other guys? Like, I'd love to see Linares and Pacquiao, or Pacquiao and Lomachenko, or Pacquiao and Garcia,
Or Khan. You mentioned Khan before.
yeah, or Mir Khan. But and Mayweather needs same thing. I'm not a Mayweather fan. I respect the guy. He's got great skill. He's a good business guy. But again, he's the king of cherry picking. So, I mean, this is bullshit. I mean, let me fight Adrien Broner, tune-up fight, beat him up easy. A guy that's lost 2 or 3 in a row, or he hasn't won one in a while.
He had a draw with Jesse Vargas.
Yeah, well, that's not a win. So
no, it's not. It's not a win.
So he hasn't had a good victory in a while.
Mayweather's also coming off of a multi-year layoff, though. I mean, he hasn't fought a real boxer in 3 years, 4 years, or something like that.
Yeah, well, I mean, who did he fight in his retirement fight? He fought
Andre Berto.
Andre Berto.
Andre Berto who's probably a bigger threat than Adrien Broner is right now.
Yeah, and Berto wasn't even at the top because, I mean, he had trouble with Devin Alexander. He did. Who else he fought?
Robert Guerrero. He had trouble with Robert Guerrero.
Yeah, so, I mean, this is not, Mayweather's just really good at hyping himself up and making a lot of money, but I don't want to see it. It'll be boring. It'll be easy fight for Mayweather. Linares and Broner all day long. I want to see that one. At least Broner has kind of a chance to give Linares a hard time and could.
I'm in that camp too. Of all those fights, I would rather see Linares and Broner. I think it's good for Jorge Linares. I think Jorge Linares is good for boxing, and I think I'd like to see him go up against Ramirez afterwards.
Oh, he's. Oh man, I think him and Ramirez would be a freaking
I think that would be a great fight. I think it'd be a great fight. Yeah. And if he has to go through Adrien Broner, which I think he can, then he should do that. You know.
Well, let's see it. Put it together.
So that's one.
What else they got?
So Mikey Garcia versus Luke Campbell. So the only reason I think this one is interesting is because very recently Robert Garcia gave an interview where he was talking about fighting mandatories, and he said some sanctioning bodies are more lenient than others. And he said, for instance, Mikey's had the WBC belt for almost 2 years, and he's never had to fight his mandatory. He just makes voluntary defenses of that belt. And now they're saying he has to fight Luke Campbell.
They heard him.
Yeah, it's almost like they heard him, and they're like,
oh,
okay,
really?
No, Mikey has to fight Luke Campbell. So that one is...
You're making us look bad.
Yeah, exactly. But the truth of the matter is, nobody cares about Mikey's next fight in terms of whether it's Luke Campbell, whether it's his IBF, whoever his mandatory is. It's just not the fight that anybody wants to see, and it's not the fight that it seems that Mikey wants, right? Like, there's all these fights out there, Linares and Spence and Lomachenko, and he floats all these names out there and says he would like to fight all these people, but he's gonna go fight Luke Campbell. You know what I mean? Like, he's gonna go and fight these mandatory guys. So that one is probably the least exciting of this group of mandatories that came out of the WBC convention.
We saw him on Saturday at Grandpa's. There was a boxing show at Grandpa's.
Oh, he was there?
Yeah, he was there.
Cool.
He looked in good shape.
Yeah, I believe it.
Solid.
I believe it. So the next one, Santa Cruz versus Gary Russell Jr. Awesome fight.
Have they have fought before, right?
I think that
they've never fought, right?
No, I think that this one is interesting because I had already heard that it was floated as one of the undercards for the pay-per-view, Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury. At Staples. And I really hope that gets made for Staples. Yeah, there was like a proposed undercard, a leaked undercard that came out for that. And that was one of the fights, Santa Cruz versus Gary Russell Jr., and the other was Tank Davis versus Abner Mares. And I think that both those fights would be fantastic fights.
Absolutely.
And they would both be, they're like, those are undercards I want to see. You know what I mean? And I hope that those get made. So this one is actually kind of exciting.
Well, Tank's been kind of on the shelf for a minute, and then I just saw something where Eddie Hearn was making him an offer to fight.
On DAZN?
Yeah, and supposedly he talked with Mayweather, and Mayweather declined any type of co-promotion or partnership for Gervonta Davis.
Yeah, no action with Gary Russell before. So this will be their first meeting. But I think it would be a super interesting fight.
Absolutely, man. Just the speed of Gary Russell versus the volume
Of Leo?
Of Leo.
Yeah, man.
And I think Leo takes it just because I think he can find some holes in Gary Russell as far as the speed. And a lot of times Gary's throwing flashy punches. Not all of them connect. Leo's tough. He can walk him down.
It's fun. You know,
We'll see.
When Nancy Rodriguez was here, we actually talked about Leo Santa Cruz, or Gary Russell Jr., because he was getting ready for the Jojo Diaz fight. And I had mentioned it's hard because you see him so... He takes such a long break or a hiatus in between each one. You don't know if you're going to see the same Gary Russell Jr. that you saw last time. And it makes it difficult to predict when a guy takes a year off every time he has a fight. You know what I mean? I don't think the Jojo Diaz fight was, that was earlier this year. So I think that if they were able to turn around and make that fight for December, that would be it'd be interesting, man.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.